Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and the Ask the Fairies card reading for May 3rd through May 9th. We've done a lot of shuffling here and swishing around on the table. So we're going to see what the fairies are going to share with us today in the cards. A little bit more shuffling. And then we'll split the deck and choose the fairy cards for this week. All right. Okay, here we go. Card number 1. The 2 of Spades. Card number 2, the 7 of Diamonds. Card number 3, the 6 of Clubs. Card number 4, the 8 of Clubs. So it appears the only suit that we don't have this week is Hearts. And Clubs is making up 50% of the reading. Again, 3 black cards, 1 red card. As last week was, only the red card is a diamond instead of a heart, and it is in a different position. So let's see what the fairies have to share with us for this week. Okay, so starting with the 2 of Spades here. As we can see, we have what appears to be 2 older gentlemen arguing like crazy with one another. And, you know, their mouths are open wide enough that it looks like that they're actually shouting at one another. There are so many conflicts going on right now. And so many oppositions of opinion and so many very strong beliefs towards specific things. We have obviously whether or not someone is of a certain party, whether or not they're of a certain color, whether or not they have a certain belief system. And these cards actually came out upside down, and I don't often read cards in the reverse position. However, this sword kind of reminds us of something else that could be a poke, if you get my meaning there. And so then there's opposition about that as well. And there's just so many things that have been created that we are pitted against one another about, which is a shame because we really all should be working together. But the powers that be, those with the money, again, as you see, they are still hidden. There is no diamond there where it should be. It is still the earth, and you know, they have pitted humanity against one another individually over many different issues. They knew it would work. And that's the sad thing. They really knew it would work. And the main reason that it does work is because we are able to, most of us, think for ourselves and form opinions for ourselves. But then on the other hand, we also have those who buy into everything, and I mean everything, that those hidden powers who have caused all this chaos tell them. Diamonds are also about spiritual potential and illumination and consciousness and just our spiritual depth. And again, no diamonds are showing here. Yes, we see it here, but we do not see it in the diamond position that is natural. And so there is no spiritual depth right now for the planet of Earth, so to speak. Don't get me wrong, there are light workers. Yes, there's many light workers. But they are kind of helpless in a way right now. Doesn't mean they should stop working. However, kind of helpless with all the chaos, and the hidden powers that be keep bringing up more and more and more. And as you can see, these guys are in total opposition here. And what continues to come forth is, again, one day it's safe to do this. The next day it's not safe to do this. One day this poke is good for elderly people. Another day it's only good for toddlers. So, all of this causes so much earthly confusion. And that, spades are about how we live on this earth. And it has been caused to fight with one another. At least that's what most think. It's necessary to be the one to win. It has to be that. I have to win because I have to be right. Problem is that what's going on behind the scenes, none of it is right. None of it. In the sense of those with that money that are causing all this chaos, what they are creating is not the world we wish to live in. So then we move on to the Sword of Truth. This sword is a challenge, and the challenge for this one happens to be to force yourself to go inside and really examine what you think about things. And it's in the perfect position here. It is in the position of a club, what would naturally be for a club here. And that club, as we all know, is about breathing. And again, we have that issue. It is about being individuals. It is about being creative. It is about connecting with one another and staying connected with one another. It is all about humanity. So what better place for this truth card to be? To force everyone to go inside and really think about what it means to be human. What it means to be happy. What it means to be creative. What it means to love someone. What it means to hug someone. What it means to have freedom to go out and breathe fresh air, and freedom to travel, and freedom to meet new people, and just make the decisions yourself, rather than having those hidden people make those decisions for us. This card of truth is also a diamond, and diamond is usually money, and that's what the diamond has become for the earth. But this card is spiritual cash, not earthly cash. It is how much that you have gained and obtained on a spiritual level of understanding. This card is also about cutting through the fog of false thinking and false perceptions. And if you remember, the club card is also a thinking card. It's all about thinking. There's so much in that club. So this truth sword is in the perfect position, and it is time for it to begin cutting through what does not fit. Cutting out all of this unnecessary bickering, unnecessary anger, hate, pitting one another against one another. That is what this is going to start changing. Now, coming down here to the Six of Clubs, this card is called the Bridge. in this deck. And it sits where a heart would normally sit. Now remember, we talked about the clubs as communication. Part of what we're going to begin seeing this week, and now remember we're going from the 3rd through the 9th, part of what we are going to begin seeing is truth in communication. So that could mean that the mainstream news, media news, that kind of thing is going to start telling the truth. They're going to be forced to tell the truth. Some of these people who are in that communication business have been struggling with their inner selves because they don't necessarily believe what's going on behind the curtains here. So some of them are really realizing that this is not the way things should be. So the communication truth is going to start happening here. The problem is it could cause more of this, because those who have fallen for the hidden agendas, hook, line, and sinker, are going to have a very, very hard time admitting that they may have believed in something that wasn't really true. That is tough to swallow. So, but the communication is going to start changing this coming week. And I believe also pretty much through the month of May is my thinking here. This is what the fairies are sharing. Now this bridge, this is kind of it's a place, the 6 is a place of breathing, I guess you could say, because it's a safe crossing over troubled waters. Now again, we have no heart here, which means that there's necessity for healing, and that is going to all take place, but it's going to take time. The truth has to come out first, and then you can kind of breathe easy if you're a light worker to a degree, because you're on the opposite side of the bridge already. You've gone towards the future of what you would like this earth to be. And so there you are on the other side, and you're going to start seeing a stream of people begin to make their way over this bridge to the future that they also wish to have, that does not include the unseen money people and all this chaos. But it takes time. It's the inner self and the trials and tribulations and the fears that keep people on this side of the bridge, okay? It keeps people from moving forward in their life, whether there is all this going on or not. So when newfound ideas come forth, new knowledge and hope, each time that happens, a brick is formed, which helps form the pathway across this bridge for that individual person. So everybody is building their bridge, slow but sure. And it's a rather odd scenario, because up here you've got the hidden money people and the ones who are, saying, okay, today you can do this. And then the next day they say you can't do this. So that takes this hope, that things are going to get better, and suddenly it gets slammed because, oh no, it's worse again, and then it's better, and then it's worse, and then it's better. So those bricks, they get created, and then they get broken, and created, and broken, and created. So some people just kind of stand in the middle of that bridge and have no idea whether they want to go back the way they came or forward to something they don't know. And some people will choose the evil they know. That's just so much easier. Because going into the future might mean there might be something worse. But the fairies are saying, no, build that bridge. Go towards the future. That is what we are meant to do. And the communication that is going on is going to begin showing truths that the light workers knew all along, and will hopefully move others forward as well. Because here we have the scales. We've had this card before. It's the 8 of clubs, and again, another communication card. This one is in the earth position. This card is talking about a whole new way of thinking. It's a balance of the mind, which is definitely necessary, and also something that this card is going to do with the communication, because again, it's not just communication on a club, it is also the thinking and the individuality and the freedom and so forth. This is a card that is balancing the mind of all those on earth, throwing away the biased thoughts and negative thought patterns, anything that creates strife, that makes these hidden money people happy. We don't want their help. We don't need their help. We want to be the individual humans we were meant to be. So this is the card that's talking about having a more enlightened way of thinking, and also allows us to be like the clouds here that you see, on the card in the background here, where they're way up in the sky, bird's eye view, so to speak. And, we are able to see, once we are balanced in the mind, we are able to see what our reality really is, what is really going on, so that the truth is not that hard to swallow. But for those where the truth is hard to swallow, this is where they need to get to. And change their way of thinking and realize that as humans, the freedom is ours. And it's supposed to be ours, always was meant to be ours. We've just been told that's not the way it is. And all kinds of rules and regulations and fines and licenses and so forth have been required for everything under the sun. It's time for all of that to end. Only it needs to be discerned truthfully amongst each and every person. Be expecting to see changes in how the news comes across in a good way for those of us who already know that this is not the world we want. Be on the lookout for that this week. That is what the fairies are sharing here. And, feel free to share the truth as well. Communicate with those that you can communicate with. Feel free to do that. It is time to do so and to kind of step up the game a bit. Kind of feel people out a little, though, because there is responsibility with sharing truth. Don't go over the edge, so to speak, with someone that you know is probably going to fight you tooth and nail. Choose your people carefully, because you don't want to push them so hard that you push them to the opposite side of the bridge that you're on. And that can happen. So be very careful when you're sharing truth, sharing your truth, sharing what you know, and pointing out specific things about the communication that is going to take place. So I think that is it for the fairies for this week. There's a lot to share here. So, as all readings, please take what works for you and throw out what doesn't. Share the reading if you wish to, and we will see you again next week. Take care.